his bodyguard, like he needed a bodyguard. This guy had the easiest job on the set. I said, what are you defending him from, the flu? Comes up to me and goes, oh, it's very easy, Governor. It's just like a motorbike. Clutch here, brake pedal, on-off switch, Bob's your uncle. That should have told me something, right? Get on this thing, I have no business being on. And I put it in first gear, and I lurch forward, and I go over a rock, because it's very mountainous where we're shooting. And I caught my left big toe between the clutch pedal and the rock, and it just snapped like that. And I went, oh, wow, that's what the sound of a broken toe sounds like. That's really interesting. And now, there are people running up to me, crew and what have you, and I'm about to shoot the scene with Buttercup. And the set nurse comes up, and she says, oh, what happened, what happened? I go, well, no, it's nothing really. I pretend to be like the Black Knight in Monty Python, the Holy Grail. It's nothing, it's just a flesh wound, it's nothing, it's nothing, it's flesh. She goes, I think we need to look at it, let's take the boot off. So they took the boot off, and then there was my big toe, and it was all red and pointed in the wrong direction. Lovely. And she goes, ooh, I think it's broken. I said, no, it's not, it's just sprained. She goes, look it's pointed all the wrong direction, everything. It's broken. I said, well, what can you do for me? I gotta shoot a scene, what can you do? She goes, I'm a set nurse. She opened up a bag, she goes, I've got something here for an upset tummy, I've got something for a headache. I don't have nothing for broken limbs. I've got to go to hospital for that. So I said, oh please, anything, because they were getting like down to the wire to shoot the scene. I said, is there anything you can do? And she goes, well, I suppose I could make a makeshift splint. I said, great, can you do that? So I think she grabbed a couple of twigs or something, bent the toe back into the right direction, and taped it up. And now the boot wouldn't fit, of course, because it's all swollen. Now they had to cut the boot and make it fit. Now, I'm thinking, what am I going to tell Rob Reiner? We're 10 days into shooting. I haven't shot any of the sword fighting, which I'm supposed to do myself. There's supposed to be no. Rob said he didn't want Mandy and I to have any stunt doubles. It had to be us. I'm thinking, they're going to fire me, for sure. I broke my toe, fooling around on Andre's all-terrain vehicle, and I'm going to be fine. That's it. So I thought, don't tell Rob, I'll handle it, don't worry. I'm thinking, what a twit, because he's the director. Of course he's going to find out. You make strange decisions when you're nervous and young. And so I said, don't tell him, I'll handle it. So I get in the van with the first assistant director and the set nurse, and it's the longest, slowest drive I've ever taken in my life. I seem to remember I overheard the set nurse in the back of the van saying, I think he fell on his head as well. Get to the set, I literally hop out of the van, and I put all my weight on the broken toe, and I just walk up to Rob like nothing was happening. And Rob says, he's scratching his beard, he goes, hey Carey, how you doing? Like that. And I'm thinking, he can't possibly know. I go, I'm fine, Rob, how are you? He goes, I'm good. How are you doing? Like that. And then I knew he knew, right? So I said, oh, Rob, I'm so sorry. I feel like such a twit. I mean, I was fooling around on Andre's all-terrain vehicle. I went over a rock, and I think I may have broken my toe. And he goes, you think I don't know? I'm the director. Everybody's got a walkie-talkie on this set. Somebody just said to me, you're gonna see that Carey can't walk too good. I said, I'm so sorry, Rob. I was afraid to tell you. I thought you'd fire me. He goes, I'm not gonna fire you. What are you, crazy? Can you walk? I go, yes, it's good, it's, yeah. He goes, can you run? I go, it's gonna be interesting. He goes, all right, don't worry about it. Shoot the scene and we'll get to it later. And he was such a mensch about it. But I learned two valuable things that day. One, always tell the truth, it's easier. And two, don't go fooling around an all-terrain vehicle unless you know where you're going. Them things aren't toys. They're not toys. They're very dangerous. So that was the first and last time I've been on an all-terrain vehicle. That was it. Yeah.
How different was Rob Reiner's style from Mel Brooks? Because they're essentially comedies.
Yes.
And now you've done Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah.
And you transitioned over to Robin Hood.
Yes.
Working with another.
Thank you.
Great.
actually, thank you. Mel came to a screening, I think, of Princess Bride, and then he saw that I was. He'd already written Robin Hood Men in Tights, and I got the call. I literally got a call from him at home, and I thought it was a hoax because I picked up the phone and said, "This is Mel Brooks." I went, "Yeah, right," and hung up on him. Right? Isn't that what you would do? So the phone rang again. I picked it up and he went, don't hang up, it's really me. And then he proceeded to tell me he had this script about Robin Hood and he wanted me to come and meet on it. And I was blown away because I grew up with Mel Brooks. I mean, I just loved his work. I'd seen his movies so many times. The Producers and Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles, and, right? Great movies. And his partner in comedy, Carl Reiner, is Rob's father. So Rob grew up around Mel, and so they did have very similar style. They both have something in common. They both take their work very seriously, but they don't take themselves very seriously, which is kind of like how I like to work. So it was a lot of fun. I can't remember a day without laughter, really. Mel was hysterical. I mean, I don't think he wanted the movie to end, frankly. We ended up shooting way over schedule because we were having so much fun. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
You mentioned learning on the set, things not to do
right
later. There are a lot of genre actors who do genre over and over and over again, and everybody knows you mostly as Westley or Robin Hood.
Right.
But you have such a varied string of work. I mean, all sorts of genres and parts and characters and everything. There's really no pinning you down, and you're working all the time.
Yes, thank you. Very fortunate.
I looked at your IMDb listing just to see what's going on. You've got something like 7 or 8 projects in post-production right now. I mean, you're constantly on the go.
I like to work.
And you got 2 projects that are coming out soon.
Yes. Sugar Mountain with Jason Momoa. You may know him from Game of Thrones. Just got cast, I believe, as Aquaman. Yeah, he's great. And I did a film with Catherine Keener called Green's Gone, and they're both coming out at some point this year.
And you played Aquaman.
I played Aquaman on the animated.
Yes, in Flashpoint.
That's right. Yeah.
Some of you saw that?
Yes. 3 people. 3 people here saw it. Thank you.
Anyway, let's do this. If you guys want to start lining up for some questions, and we'll throw this over to you guys.
Yes, sir.
Favorite memory from Psych?
Say favorite
Memory from Psych.
Oh, hey, how you doing? What's your name?
Favorite memory from Psych.
Hi, how you doing? Favorite memory from Psych? I think my first day working on Psych was my favorite day because I didn't realize how Dule Hill, when he screams like a little girl, I just about lost it. And I didn't realize that's what he was going to do in the scene because it wasn't written, and he just surprised me with it, and I started crying. It was so funny, I started crying. Yeah, those guys are great. I had a lot of fun. Thank you. Hi. What's your name?
Jacob?
Hi, Jacob.
Would you ever want to appear on an episode of Doctor Who?
Jacob, if you can't see, is actually dressed as one of the doctors, I believe. Looking very smart, by the way, Jacob. They've never asked me, but I'm sure if I got the call, I would certainly entertain it. I grew up watching Doctor Who, long before it became very popular here, by the way. And when I was a kid, this dates me, by the way, because I'm very old. And when I was watching Doctor Who, it was in black and white. Seriously, you can imagine. And the sets were so flimsy that when he closed the door to the TARDIS, the whole walls shook. It was hilarious, because you'd sit there watching it as a kid, you go, that thing can't go into space. Those walls aren't even going to make it, through the rest of the day. But it was hilarious to watch. I loved it.
If you got the call, would you prefer to be a companion, or a one-shot, or a villain?
A Dalek. If you want to see a very funny Dalek skit, Google Spike Milligan and Dalek. It's very funny. He does a skit of the Dalek coming home from work. It's very funny. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi, what's your name? Oh, over here. Hi, what's your name?
Lillian?
Hi, Lillian.
So you said the director didn't really want you to have stunt doubles, so did you roll down the hill yourself?
Rolling down the hill. I said, no, you know what's, thank God it wasn't me, because I just broke my toe. By the way, if you look at the film, you can see, we shot it out of sequence, but there are certain scenes where I'm supposed to be running, where I'm sort of doing the most interesting interpretive jazz dance. And you can spot them now. If you look at it, you'll see it's ridiculous. Like running into the firestorm, I'm literally on one foot. It's ridiculous. No, it was my stunt double, God bless him. That was both my stunt double and Robin's stunt double that went down there. Yeah.
But the sword fight was all you and
sword
Mandy,
fight was
except for the one flip.
The flip from the acrobat, that was a real
Everything was
gymnast. But
How long did that take to rehearse?
a lot. We started rehearsing that 3 weeks before shooting, and Mandy and I worked on it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then while we were shooting, every time Rob Reiner yelled cut, the swordsman that we were working with would grab us between takes and we'd rehearse. So we never really sat down on the movie we were working on.
Have you seen the YouTube clip with the swords as lightsabers?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, no, it was, luckily the toe had fairly well healed by then, thank goodness. But it was still a bit tender, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Gina.
Hi, Jim.
I was wondering, I know I read your book already and you said that you did a lot of the fencing.
All of the fencing.
All of the fencing, sorry.
Yes.
I used to fence myself. If someone were to actually ask you to duel, would you be able to do it? Or
Now?
Yeah, like nowadays.
No, you could probably kick my butt right now. But you know, at the time, I was fairly well proficient. You know what's funny is that when I broke my toe, in a way, it helped me become more proficient left-handed because my trainer, a wonderful guy, Peter Diamond, said, okay, look, we're not going to bother with footwork anymore because obviously we can't do that. So we're just going to focus on your arm movements. And it made me much better left-handed than if I hadn't. So in a strange way, that happy accident, it helped me learn to be a better swordsman in a way. So, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Hi. What's your name?
Krista.
Hi. What's your name?
Krista.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. I beg your pardon.
Okay, well, my question is, you're such a funny man, obviously. So, what do you do, something specific, to transition from, say, Princess Bride, Robin Hood Men in Tights, to Saw?
Well, in both films, I am tortured. So, that was not hard. No. Then luckily, one was in 1986 and the other was in 2000 whatever. And so, you know, I prepare for all of my roles the same way. I love doing research. I love getting into the role and studying the character. And, you know, I do a lot of preparation for my work. And yeah, it's the fun part of it actually for me, really getting into the character and the script. But for Saw, it was different because I was chained to a wall for pretty much, 18 hours a day. And for bathroom breaks, there was one guy who had a key. Because that was a real padlock on our ankles, And I can assure you, myself and Lee Winnell kept an eye on that guy with the key all day long. Everywhere he walked, we would just follow it with our eyes. Because if he lost that key, that was it. We'd have to bring in a chainsaw or something. But I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason. How you doing?
I'm really curious as to your process or your opinion of how you made Westley work. Somebody who was gone for 5 years, helped murder, rob, and pillage people, and still get the girl at the end of the movie. You never wrote a letter.
Very good. Well, you
were
what?
a captain for 2 years and you never wrote a letter.
Not one. Not even a note. Ships in the, notes in a bottle don't really work very well for getting mails to people. No, I know, it's one of those, happy accidents in the story that the guy disappears for a great period of time and becomes a pirate and then comes back to save the day. I think the point was that Bill Golan wanted to turn him into a heroic figure from being a farm boy so that he could come back and perform all these great, heroic deeds to rescue the damsel in distress. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it was a device.
It also kind of threatened some domestic violence there once you did meet her. You still made it work. It was just amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Awesome. Yes, sir. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Aaron. Decades ago, as a young child, so young that I couldn't even remember movie titles, I watched a movie and it haunted me for years. And visited some of my parents' friends one day and was talking about how there's this one movie that had this line and I really liked it, but I couldn't remember what it was. And some may find it inconceivable, but the line actually was "As you wish."
Okay.
So I find that to be a testimony to your brilliance in delivering that line.
Thank you.
But I was kind of curious, what is, multiple questions, one would be, what's the highlight for you as an actor? What do you like most about it? And also, what's the hardest part about being an actor? Because I know it can be really difficult. I watched a documentary called That Guy, and it talked about how you have to have hobbies because sometimes you're waiting for jobs. So, curious if you have a hobby. What's the hardest part about being an actor, and what's the easiest part?
Well, the easiest part is the fun of it and the joy of it. And, to be a working actor is a blessing. I consider it a blessing. I never take it for granted. I thank God every single day. And, and so, he's been very good to me. And I in my prayers, I'm grateful. I have a feeling that God has a lot of people praying for things that they want. I tend to pray and thank him a lot. Just like, I figure, if you get a phone call from people saying, yeah, right? You get a phone call saying, hey, listen, I need a new car, all right? If you get those kind of phone calls all the time, if you were God, you're going to go, yeah, really? How about a thank you once in a while, So in our home, we practice gratitude to God, and so I really feel that I've been very blessed in my career. I've had an incredible career. If it all ends tomorrow, I can die happy, man. I've really been blessed, really.
I really like this one.
The hardest part is waiting for the next job. Because, it's not a 9-to-5, job that you can hold year round. Once they yell rap and everybody goes home, you're back on the unemployment list, And so it can be nerve-wracking, wondering where that next job is coming from. Sometimes it's only a week, sometimes it's months. So, yes, you have to find something to occupy your time. I like to write. I'm not a great writer, but I did finish my first script and it just got produced and it's starring Kevin Spacey and Michael Shannon. It's called Elwes and Nixon. Yes. So that was fun.
Yes. So you keep on coming out with jobs that are amazing to watch and really impactful. So thank you for all your efforts.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Hello.
Hi. My name is Nikki.
Hi, Nikki.
I'm a huge fan. Unfortunately, being a law student, I have not had time yet to read As You Wish, but it is on my book list.
Okay.
That being said, grew up very influenced, believe it or not, by Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Okay.
I still own it. I still watch it on my bad days, and it always puts me in a better mood. Right. That being said, would you ever entertain the notion of writing a book about your experience with Robin Hood Men in Tights?
That's a good question because I've been asked that by a number of people. We're talking about writing another book. Obviously, Simon Schuster, the publishers, are very happy with the numbers right now, and so they want to look at doing another one. I'm not sure what it'll be. It has really to do. They end up deciding. But I mean, if enough people want me to write that book, that's probably going to be the one I write. Is that it? Well, I guess that answers that question.
That makes my heart so happy. One more.
Yes.
In a fight between the drug pirate and Robin Hood, who do you think would win?
What's that?
in a fight or a duel between the Dread
Oh, I
Pirate.
love this. I always get asked hypothetical questions about who would win in a duel and things like that. I have no idea. They're fictional characters. But since we're at a Comicon, we have to entertain it, right?
Yes.
I would be kicking my own butt. So I think it would have to be a tie. Right?
Fair enough. Thank you.
Well, what's your name?
Josiah.
Hi, Josiah. How are you?
Good. On the set of Psych, did James Rode ever do Magic Head to you?
Do what?
Magic Head?
No, never. I missed out, obviously. What's that?
At the Comicon episode.
Oh, right.
James Rode, he puts his hand on Doolittle's head and gives him the nickname Magic Head.
I missed that episode. I'm sorry that I did. Clearly it was great. No, he never did it for me. But I'll pass that on to him next time I see him, that you enjoyed it. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, right? Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, thank you for coming to Kansas City.
My pleasure, thank you.
I'm a bit of a tech head, and so I have a little bit more of a technical question here.
Okay.
In the Fire Swamp, which is a fabulous set, by the way, I'm really kind of curious as to the craft or the device that they used for the lightning sand. Because you just have to grab that vine and dive into what looks like 2 tons of sand,
Yes.
which I can assume is on an elevated platform. And how do you hold your breath for how long to go through and penetrate all through the sand, to go all the way through to the gentleman at the bottom to get you, and then have to pull yourself back through all that sand and come out, probably with a harness with a rope through the vine to help pull you back out through all this. I'm curious as to how this is all set up, because they don't cover this behind the scenes.
You are a very sweet man. It's all smoke and mirrors, I can assure you. It looked harder than it really was. What it was a trap door, and they put 3 pieces of plywood over the trap door in the shape of like a triangle, and they held up the plywood with bits of wood, and then they put a piece of foam latex on top of the plywood, and then they poured sand on that, and that became the quicksand, right? And so the plywood was like an aperture of a camera, and when the exact moment when someone steps on it, they would release the plywood and the bits of wood, and the sand would like go down like in an hourglass, and that was the moment when we had to jump into the pit, right? Well, the original, the first take was done with our stunt doubles for Robin and I, and the guy who was my stunt double, who's a terrific guy, by the way, he ended up, first of all, he came up to me and went, well, you should definitely hold your nose, because, you know, the sand's going to go up your nose. So he put the sword in the ground. He cut the vine, right? Grabbed the vine, put the sword in the ground, and then jumped it, like you jump in a pool holding your legs. And it looked really weird. It was like, wait a minute, what? And so I turned to Rob and I went, I think you should dive in. Wesley's like he's a hero. You should dive into the pit. And the special effects guys who designed this sand pit came up and went, oh no, Governor, no, he can't jump in. Well, it wasn't designed for that. We've been practicing for weeks with people, going bum first, not head first. If he goes head first, he could break his neck, and then we all go home, Governor. And I said to Rob, come on, let's try it. And Rob was like, nah, I don't know. Let's ask the stunt guy. And so my stunt double came up and said, yeah, I think I can do it. And so the next take he did it, and he dove in, and it was fantastic. And Rob loved it. He went, hey, that's great, Carey, can you do that? And the special effects guys came up again and went, look, Governor, we want you to sign a piece of paper releasing us from any kind of, damage that happens to Mr. Elwes, because if he breaks his neck, we don't want to be sued, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of back and forth, but in the end, Rob said, do you think you can do it? And that was the take that we did. It was the very next take I went in and dove in and did it. So yeah, it turned out good. But there was guys catching us underneath, And then after I grabbed Robin, they were literally pushing us both up. I know, it looked a lot harder than it really was. Acting. Thank you. Hello. What's your name? Faith. Can I get a hug? You're so cute. You're 11? You're very cute, you know that? What's your name? Faith. Faith? Come on over here. Let's get Faith up on stage so everyone can see you. It's so cute. Everybody, this is Faith. What's your question?
Will you always be Westley to me, but did you like playing Pierre Despereaux in Psych?
I did. But you know what I like the best?
What?
Meeting you. Let's hear it for Faith. Awesome. Thank you, Faith. That was a very tasteful way of getting back up on stage. Didn't break anything, thank goodness.
I'm going to throw out the 10-minute warning.
10-minute warning. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
You look magnificent.
Thank you very much. I'm a really big fan, and so is my mom, who is in England right now.
Oh, cool.
And I actually have her on the phone. This weekend is her birthday.
For real?
For real. And it would make my day and make her year if you said happy birthday to her.
Well, it's a long distance call. We better do it quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I have her on speaker, so.
For real?
Yeah. Wait, one sec.
What's your name?
Stephanie. Mom, are you there? Okay. Here's your birthday present from me.
Stephanie, are you there?
Her name is Susan.
Susan.
Sorry.
I beg your pardon. Susan, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Everybody say hi to Susan. Hi! Susan, Susan, is it your birthday? Is it your birthday? Is it your birthday? All right, so we're all going to sing happy birthday to you. Ready? All right, hold on 1 second. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Did you hear that, Susan? God bless. Happy birthday. Have a great one. Awesome. That's the first. Hi. How you doing? What's your name?
My name's Amy.
Hi.
Princess Bride has been my favorite movie since I was 11. It still is.
Thank
It's
you.
a real honor to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sort of